topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. If I sound a little nasally this morning, I apologize. I got COVID. This is my fourth time with COVID. This has probably been the worst, but we've got so many shows and I didn't want to get backed up on it. So we're moving forward with our shows. We have such a great show for you this morning. We've got Ray Ferrara with Provis Money Management Group. I think, Ray is here. Let's welcome Ray.
Good morning, Steve. And
hi, Ray.
Sorry to hear about the COVID, and 4 times. You can certainly hear it.
You know what? I have had, I got 2 injections. I didn't get the third, but I got COVID way before that. But, this one has been the worst. But you know what? We had to miss last week's show due to the holidays, and I didn't want to get behind. And plus, I love doing your show. And God, it just seems like everything changes day to day when it comes to money and what's going on with the economy. And people really look forward to your show because you've got just so much great information when it comes to the economy. And your crystal ball is usually pretty right on. I got to tell you, it's amazing. Anyway, tell people your company is Provis, and what you've done with this company, Ray, over the years is amazing. Tell people about Provis.
Steve, thank you. First of all, that foggy crystal ball sometimes works, so we'll keep looking at it. Provis Management was formed 39 years ago last month, and it is a financial planning firm, first and foremost, as we see everything as a subset to financial planning, whether it's retirement planning, estate planning, investment management, asset protection, education planning. All of those things are subsets of a plan. We do manage about $2 billion on behalf of about 1,100 clients scattered over 30 states, obviously the bulk of them in the Tampa Bay area and Florida, but very pleased with our folks all over the country. We have 2 physical offices, one in Clearwater and the other in Tampa, and we are serving our clients with a team of 30 people, 14 of whom are financial planners, all of whom are certified financial planners. We always offer a complimentary 1-hour consultation with anyone in either of our 2 offices, or for those that are outside of the Tampa Bay area or just find it more convenient, we're happy to do it by Zoom as well. So give us a call if you'd like to take advantage of that at 727-441-9022. That's 727-441-9022.
You know, Ray, I thought about you this weekend. There was this big Powerball. I think it was Powerball. And there was 2 people who won about $900 million. And you hear about these people who win the lottery who years later are broke, which is just so sad. But what do you think? What should these people be thinking about when all of a sudden, I'm sure most of them, it's a sudden wealth thing for them. What should they be thinking about?
Well, first of all, congratulations to those two, and
Yeah,
darn it, it wasn't you or me that
right.
that. um, all kinds of things to consider. Let's look at the taxes first and the payouts. The lump sum payout, as you indicated, is about $900 million, and that's paid out over a 30-year period of time. Now, that doesn't mean that the person gets 30 million per year for 30 years. The way the lump sum payment works is you're going to get a whole 900 million over 30 years, but it starts out with a smaller amount than 30 million. And each year, 5% is added as you go along, so that when you add up all 30 payments, you get to 900 million. And it's kind of like a built-in inflation set of payments. That's kind of the first thing. The lump sum, however, ended up being somewhere around, I think it was half of that, or maybe a little less than that. But let's just say it was $450 million. The first thing that you got to consider is that you have to pay income taxes on that money,
Right.
which is obviously going to put you in the 37% tax bracket. But then to that, you're going to have to add the Obamacare tax, which is another 3.8%. So you're going to be paying 42% of that in taxes, and on $450 million, that's going to be about $180 million that you'll pay in income taxes that first year. So with 180 taken off of the 450, you're not left with much of $900 million.
Right.
You're now finding yourself with about $270 million. That's all, Steve. Just $270 million. And today, if one were to have $270 million, what do they do with that amount of money? There are so many things for them to consider regarding their personal situation. If they decided to keep it all for themselves, probably the smartest, safest thing to do, and that doesn't mean it's the smartest thing to do, it's just the smartest, safest thing to do, would be to invest into tax-free bonds. Let's say you get 3% on your $270 million. That means that you would be roughly $8 million a year tax-free that you'd have to live on. Going to be a tough life for you there, Steve.
Yeah, right.
But people may want to consider sharing that wealth with their family, with their children, grandchildren, etc. And so over the years, we've had 4 or 5 lottery winners as clients. And our first advice to any of those folks is to get together with your attorney, with your CPA, and with your financial advisor, all 3 of them in the room at the same time, before you cash the ticket in, before you announce that you own it, and talk to them about what's the best thing to do. If you want to share it, then, maybe set up a limited liability corporation, and then everybody can have a little bit of the pot from the limited liability corporation, and you can share the wealth out amongst the family. The one thing that you do want to be careful of is once it's been announced, you're going to have more friends and more relatives than you ever knew you had. And all of them are going to have the newest get-rich scheme for you. And all they need is for you to invest a few $1 million, that windfall that you got, to help them out. Well, you already have more wealth than most Americans have when you just won the lottery. And at this point, it is not about trying to double down and make a whole lot of money, because additional money isn't going to add any value to your life, most likely. And if it doesn't add value, why do you want to take the risk? So, when cousin Eddie comes with the bright idea, don't you tell him you're not going to do it. Tell him simply, well, I need a detailed business plan. And most of them will look at you cross-eyed because they don't know what a business plan is. And you want a detailed business plan, and then that you're going to share it with your financial advisors. Again, that team of the attorney, the CPA, and the financial planner, and they'll evaluate it. And then let us be the bad guys. We'll be the ones that say, no, you shouldn't be investing your money with cousin Eddie. You don't have to be the bad guy. Let us be the bad guy, and we'll say no to Eddie for you. So those are just some quick things to consider when you get lucky enough to have, all of those 5 numbers and the Powerball on there. And now, it's going to go back down to a mere probably $20 or $25 million. And who would want to win that, Steve?
Right. Crazy. Ray, this reminds me so much of when I was an agent in pro football. Now, there was not the millions of dollars back then, but it was still a lot of money back then. But I'd always tell them, hey, if they weren't your cousin before, they're not your cousin now. Everything you're saying right now just reminds me of when one of my players became a player on the team and got this money. But I always tell them that if you just manage your money right, you should never have to worry about money ever again. And it always upset me, those ones that were broke after 3 or 4 years out of football, because it never should have happened that way if they had had a company like Provis managing their money for them.
Well, there are lots of stories of sudden wealth disappearing, as you pointed out earlier. It's unfortunate that people, when they do have that kind of sudden wealth, think it's going to last forever, and they go buy the plane, the big yacht. They think they know all the answers at that point. Watch CNBC and they become experts right away.
Right.
And money comes with complexity. It comes with problems. It doesn't make life easier. It makes it more complicated. But our advice to anybody who has that kind of sudden wealth is you won the lottery, literally, in this particular case. Now, don't squander it. Make it last, and you're only going to be able to live on $8 million tax free for the rest of your life. I'm sorry.
So tough. Okay, so let's get that crystal ball going, because next week the Federal Reserve is going to meet. Are we going to have another round of rate cuts like we did last fall?
Well, Steve, I will be very surprised if the Fed does not reduce interest rates by at least 25 basis points. I'm not a fan of reducing the rates right now. We certainly, there is a dual mandate that exists for the Fed of full employment and keeping inflation under control. But there's probably enough pressure for the Fed to look at cutting at least 25 basis points. Our jobs report last week was only 22,000 new jobs when there were about 75,000 expected. People are not hiring. Interestingly, they're not firing in any great numbers. First-time claims are staying fairly steady at about 225,000 per month. But people are reluctant to hire in large numbers, primarily because of the uncertainty that exists in the economy. The president has made no secret that he's been wanting the Fed to reduce interest rates for the last 6 months since he became president. People forget that the Fed did reduce interest rates last fall by 100 basis points, 50% at their first meeting, and then 2 rate cuts at the first meeting, and then 2 25 basis point reductions for a full 100 basis points last year. That is just now trickling through the economy. It takes 9 to 12 months for rate cuts to have an effect other than the psychological effect that comes with it. Right now, I would not be surprised that if they do cut interest rates, that long-term rates will go up, not down, because there is going to be enough inflation out there that bond investors are not going to be in lockstep with the Fed in reducing rates. So yes, I think there will be a rate reduction next week. I think there'll be a very cautious statement that comes out afterwards that basically says, don't expect us to continue doing this like we did last year. We'll have to wait and see what's happening. But here will be the key in our opinion. Everybody says that the cost of things are going up because of the tariffs, and they are. There's no question about that. Everybody says that that once that works its way through, everything will smooth out. That's probably the case. So what should you be looking at? Look at things that don't have tariffs on them. Look at the services industry. The last couple of months, the inflation in the service industries, ex housing, has risen rather dramatically. If that trend were to continue and inflation would be seen in the services industries, that would be a clear indication that inflation is not under control and would really, I think, keep the Fed from doing 50 basis points but still do the 25.
Kyle from Tampa, love your show, Ray. I never miss one of your shows. I was sorry you weren't on last week. My question is, I am hearing that companies are eating the cost of the can't read. I think he means tariffs. Is that true? Are they actually eating some of the costs so we don't see prices rising as fast?
So yes, it is true, Kyle, that companies are eating various portions of it, but they are passing on as much as they think that they reasonably can. Some of it is being eaten by the foreign manufacturing business. Some of it is being eaten by the local company that is then distributing those products. But the vast majority of it has pushed its way through to the consumer. It is apparent to us that prices have gone up as a result of tariffs. That primarily the consumer is eating most of it, but each of the other two companies, the foreign manufacturer and the domestic supplier of those products, are eating little bits and pieces of it. It's interesting, Stephen, that as we've gone through this earnings season, most companies are reaffirming their guidance on making their earnings this year in spite of the tariffs. They're not, so far, the impact has been more psychological than it has been real serious price increases, but there are definitely price increases.
Ray, I wanted to ask you this personally. You're in Tampa. I'm in South Florida. I've noticed oil. I really look at oil prices, and it's amazing. We go here from about 290 to 305, and it fluctuates, seems, every week. When should we start seeing these oil prices actually go down? Because we're still about the same as we were 8, 9, 10 months ago. I don't know if it's like that in Tampa.
It's pretty much a similar situation, Steve. The pricing may change a little bit from the Tampa area down to South Florida, but the price, the gas. I have a really good friend that I play golf with most Saturdays, who owns a gasoline distribution company, and he always talks about the fact that how quickly they're able to raise prices when the price of oil goes up, and they're not so fast to reduce prices when the price of oil goes down. So there's the lag on the way down is much greater than the lag on the way up in pricing. But oil has been relatively steady this year. I mean, with all the things that have been going on with the embargo, with the Russian oil, us not being happy with India buying oil from Russia, China buying oil from Russia. And as a result, we're likely to see more sanctions. We've already seen high tariffs on those three countries. We're liable to see more sanctions, particularly on Russia, as it continues to ramp up its war efforts against the Ukraine. But the price of oil has moved around, but it hasn't been wild swings, and so things have stayed fairly steady. We've gone through the summer now. That's kind of a peak time for gasoline to be burned as people are off on vacations, et cetera. So wouldn't be surprised to see the price drift down a little bit during the last couple of months of this year, lacking any shock to the system of something crazy happening in the Middle East, as an example.
We keep talking about tariffs, and are the tariffs inflationary? I mean, won't they slow down the economy or even make it go into a recession, Ray?
So lots of things to discuss relative to the tariffs. First of all, as you and I have discussed before, and I would just want to be clear, I'm not a fan of tariffs. Yes, I understand wanting our trading partners to treat us fairly, et cetera. But I am not a fan of tariffs in any way, shape, or form. They're an artificial price increase that, as we just talked about, primarily gets passed through to the consumer. It's a tax on the consumer. It's just a crazy way to collect money. The tariffs in and of themselves will not cause a recession. Period. Paragraph. They simply will not. But what they are doing is they are causing a lot of uncertainty, and uncertainty leads to uncertain things and surprises that come along with that. Up to this point, we've managed it well. These next couple of months are going to be determinant as to whether we go into a recession. And my foggy crystal ball, you heard it right here on Ask the Expert, is that we do not anticipate going into a recession through 2026. Just want to remind everybody, Steve, that we offer a 1-hour free consultation by Zoom or either our Clearwater or Tampa office. Just a chance to get to know people and them to get a chance to know us. All they have to do is give us a call at 1-800-633-3049. That's 1-800-633-3049.
Ray is with us live twice a month. Ray, thank you so much. Love doing the show with you. You've got such great information, and we'll see you next time.
And hope you're feeling better soon.
Thanks, bud.
See you later. Ciao.
That's Ray Ferrara, Provis. We're going to go to a short break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.